Hi, this is Jeff Paskowitz from JP Physical Therapy and Fitness. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about returning to running after an injury. This video is going to be all about runners after they've taken an extended period of time away from running as a result of an injury. By extended period of time, that means at least several weeks, but even after some surgeries or stress fractures, you might have taken even more time off, months away from running. And I wanted to share with you a return to running program that I've used with great success in some runners because sometimes it's not particularly clear what the best amount of running to do when you're first getting back into running is. You could start at too much, you could start really conservatively and be taking a very long time to get back to the running volume that you had in the past. So it's been a question for physical therapists for a long time. What's the right amount? And it makes sense that there probably isn't a one size fits all answer for everyone. Everybody has different training histories and different injuries and different periods of time taken away from running. So uh, as a result, there's many different running programs, but the one I wanted to talk about today is the Delaware Return to Running program. And you'll see it here on the page. The first page of it here describes a running program that people would do on a track. And the second page here is a running program that people can do on a treadmill. And we'll talk through both of these uh, going forward here. And uh, the whole premise of this is that there's going to be some level of running that people will start with. And even before starting either one of these programs, I would want to have athletes and runners achieve a certain level of strength and uh, have already done some light plyometric exercise to assess their tolerance for running. I wouldn't want them to go gung ho and returning to running too fast without a certain level of strength. And that's not within the scope of this video, but once runners have achieved a certain level of strength, I've done testing and they've done some plyometric exercise with really minimal to no soreness. I'll have them start this. And so if someone wanted to do the track program, I would have them start on level one. You'll see that highlighted here is level one. So what people would do is they would be on a traditional size track, each lap being a quarter of a mile. And what I'd have them do is jog, not run, surely just a jog along the straight parts of the track, and then walk around the curve part, and then jog back on the straight part of the track lap, and then walk along the last curve to complete the lap. And I'll have people do 8 laps just like that, or 2 miles total. And this is just the first level of uh, the running program. So in total, people will be jogging up to a mile total, but we'll have these walking breaks intermittently. I call these walk jog intervals. And the intervals are nice because it allows people to think about how they felt as they were running. It breaks up the jogs so people don't get very fatigued after running. And over time, you'll see as uh, each of these levels go, there will be more and more jogging and less walking. And uh, for the first couple levels, I'll want someone to take 2 days of rest between each workout. So that means if I start someone on level one and they feel great doing it, and they feel great afterwards, they'll take 2 days between level one and level two. So if they do level one on Monday, they'll take Tuesday and Wednesday off, and then they'll do level 2 on Thursday, and so forth. At least for the first 3 levels, this is the case. But going forward here, level 2 will involve jogging only one curve of every other lap. Once again, that's, oh, I'm sorry, they'll walk. Yeah, that's right. They'll jog one curve every other lap, which means they'll walk the other one. And then level 3, what people will do is they'll jog in the straights and then jog one curve of every lap. Level 4 will involve a fast walk for 1 3/4 of a lap and then walk the curve. Level 5 will involve people jogging all laps. So at level 5 is the point in time where there's continuous jogging for up to 2 miles. And then from level 5 through level 8, people are progressively doing more jogging. And then at level 8, people start thinking about increasing their speed. Not only is there are people jogging, but they're starting to increase the speed on the straights and then jog at the same speed they had been doing along the curves. And this is probably a good approach, particularly for people with stress fractures or bony injuries, because we know that with increased speed, that's when a lot of the extra stress goes on the bones. And the thought is people have enough running volume and they can run for a longer amounts of time. As if they can do that, that's a good thing to do because it gets their tendons and their bones really used to a certain level of impact before they really increase the amount of load by increasing speed. And so there are some instructions that come along with this. We talked about the 2 days rest between the workouts for the first couple levels. And in generally, I wouldn't want folks to advance more than 2 levels per week. And we talked about how once people get to level 4, only 1 day of rest is necessary. But what happens if someone's does a particular level and they're sore? Immediately upon starting, they starting to run, they're sore. Well, that's what this section at the bottom describes here: soreness rules. If you're sore during this warm up or just as you're first starting to get going, it's recommended to take 2 days off and to drop a level. So let's just use an example. If I was on level 6, and at this point I was jogging continuously for 2.5 miles, if I immediately start this workout and I'm sore or I have pain, I would take 2 days off and then go back to level 5 where I jog all laps just up to 2 miles. That's a sign that you might not be ready for a particular level. And it's nice because it makes this a really foolproof program. It prevents you from going further than you're physically able to. But it takes a certain level of knowing your body and certainly honesty to identify when you're sore or having pain. And sometimes it's hard to know when there's a little bit of muscle stiffness. How do you distinguish that from soreness or pain? But if you're sore during a workout, let's just say you've started one, you're halfway through, and then you're sore or you start to develop pain in your muscles or joints, it's recommended to take 1 day off and drop down 1 level. If you're sore after your workout, then you could stay at the same level. It's pretty normal if you're being challenged to have some soreness after a workout. What some people will call delayed onset muscle soreness. It's a sign that you've pushed your body to a level that you can expect it to bounce back stronger next time. So If you're at, let's just stick with our example of level 6, you do level 6 and it feels good while you're doing it, but then later that day or the next day you have some soreness, it's worth staying at level 6. You're being challenged by it. You don't need to progress any further in order to get any stronger. And so this is the track program, and really the instructions at the bottom and the soreness rules stay the same, but the only thing that's different is, well, apart from being on a treadmill, this program tells you how long to walk and how long to jog. On the treadmill, when someone's doing this program, they'll be able to see on the icon or the treadmill itself the distance that they're going. And level 1 starts with a 1/10 of a mile walking, followed by a 1/10 of a mile jogging, and then alternating back and forth through those intervals 10 times. So the total distance walking and jogging actually is the same. If you remember from the track program, people are walking for a mile and jogging for a mile. The same thing here. And it's pretty, each level in between the treadmill and the track programs are pretty comparable in the same way. And just like the track program, this treadmill program will have progressively more jogging up until you get to level 5, which once again is jogging 2 miles continuously. In the next couple levels, they increase the jogging up to 3 miles before thinking about increasing the speed at level 8. So really, it's a very similar program. The only difference is there's a track option, or there's an option to do this program on the treadmill. And I get the question sometimes, which one is worth doing? Well, really, there's probably not going to be a huge difference. So whichever one you have access to is probably going to be the best choice. There is slight differences in the force that goes through your body when you're running outside versus a treadmill. You use slightly different muscles on a treadmill, and specifically less of your hip muscles. Um, and if your goal is to eventually, get back to uh, running outside, say if you're competing in a race or something like that, might be worth just being outside and getting used to running in the same kind of conditions that you would uh, on the track. The nice thing about the treadmill is it keeps your speed the same. You can preset the speed and monitor it so that you keep that consistent as you're increasing your running volume. And that's sometimes helpful because when you're outside, it's sometimes hard to keep the same speed throughout the whole workout. You start to feel better, or you really start to become more fit, and you have an urge to run faster. And it's easier to control for that on the treadmill. So this is the Delaware Return to Running program. And if you've taken some time off, weeks or perhaps months from running as a result of an injury, feel free to stick to it, or at least use this to guide how much you're progressing and how quick you're progressing back into running. Hope this helps.